Hey, good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. It's Friday night. Here in Georgia, it's still 100 degrees outside due to the due to the humidity, and with thunderstorms in my near future. Normally, I'd be working, but I had to deal with some stuff with family, which I'm waiting to make sure everyone got home okay. My spouse and my daughter got stuck on the road, but it's all good now. But just thought I'd check in and see how you guys are doing, because today has been a very interesting day. More revelations in the craziness and the incompetency that is the Trump administration. Um, and we'll just go over anything. If you guys have any questions, want me to cover anything, just definitely go ahead and put it in the comments. Um, I see Vince is joining. Vince, has been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Like the live, share the live, and get more people in here. Hopefully, we can get up and over the masking, because we will be talking about Donald Trump. And whenever we talk about Donald Trump and the Trump administration stuff happens. Anyway, as you know, my name is Will. You can reach me here on TikTok at RJ12764 at TikTok. I have a Substack account, Binder38US Substack. And then have a YouTube, same thing, Binder38US at YouTube. You can email me at kumquat, Kumquast 6 at outlook.com. And you can drop me a line or a message at 470-236-2403. Substack has a paid subscription if you want to help me out. And if you want to really help me out, email me or text me. I'll send you a PayPal link. Wow. You know, I am not had ever been a member of the military, but I respect everyone who has. I have lived through the Vietnam War. I've seen the wars. I lived through the Iraq War. We lived through the Gulf War. We had Panama. We had what? I mean, all kinds of little skirmishes here and there. And the one thing in common, though, is I always thought the U.S. military was somewhat competent. Okay, it could do the job. There are issues, I understand, but could do the job, whether I agreed with the deployment or not. And also, the United States military worked hard to get away from what happened to them in Vietnam. After the end of the Vietnam War, the military had a goal to become more efficient, more diverse, more thinking of the soldier, more effective. Okay, not responsive. And that's something they've tried to do over the years as the sense of war changed. It's more about dealing with terroristic threats as opposed to dealing with worldwide threats. As you can see, that's what they try to concentrate on. And the big idea of battleships and bombs and all that wasn't going to work, because especially if you get a protracted war or a ground war like we did in Afghanistan and Iraq, we got sucked into those and we didn't learn our lessons, unfortunately. But the one thing they try to do is try to make sure, most of the time, try to get the military to take care of their soldiers and their sailors. Sometimes it didn't work. I know when the Iraqi war broke out at the end of the original war and it turned into a police action or occupation, a lot of the Humvees didn't have armor. I worked with a gentleman whose son was a lieutenant in Iraq, and he was not a foot soldier. He was an armory lieutenant. You know, basically 155s and stuff. But he was tasked to basically break down doors, chase insurgents. It never worked well for him. And I remember the day he came in one day and said his son had sent him letters. He had to send letters to some of his family members of his unit that had died. And he was not looking forward to it as their commanding officer. So we sometimes really drop the ball. But I always thought that we always tried to improve from it, to make sure our troops got the weapons they needed, or the support, or the logistics they needed. It wasn't perfect, but at least there was an attempt. Okay. And also it also when things happened, it was in the open. You had the press there embedded. There were reports about things that happened, especially in Iraq, where you had the problem in the prison, where people were called out for shady shit. And that's what it should be. And then came the second Trump administration. The Department of Defense secretaries, and all the ones that I've at the experience, or listened to, have always been part of the um, what was it, the military establishment. I mean, they knew how the Pentagon worked. They knew what had to be done. They tried to make sure that that the Pentagon ran well, that people got what they needed. I've never saw anyone go through, any Defense Department secretary go in there and get rid of inspector generals, or get rid of regulations, or get rid of soldiers and logistics, or get rid of things just because it would bother them or get in the way. Okay? Never saw mass firing of officers because of their sex or their race, or the mass demotion of a lot of those who were never given the promotions they want, needed, or deserved. One thing about the military, they do kind of police their own. You'll have flag officers who get their flag or get their stars, but never put in charge of anything, because general consensus is they suck, but we have to give them their rank because of their time, so we'll keep them where they can do the least amount of harm. Okay, competency matters. Again, not perfect, but there was an effort. But not when it comes to the Defense Department or the military run by Donald Trump, this military run by Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. Trump 1.0, he hated the generals and the Defense Department because they fought him. Mark Milley fought him. Heck, Mark Esper fought him as a defense secretary. Why? Because they believed in their jobs. They believed that they were serving the Constitution and their constituents, being the military members and the department, not Trump. And that was the thing. I mean, Trump once groused, I have all these generals, they won't do anything for me. They're not your generals, bro. They serve the United States Constitution. The military is loyal to the Constitution. But Trump never got that, and it bugged him because he couldn't do what he wanted. All right. After he lost the 2020 election, he started to make moves toward China that made the Chinese nervous. That Mark Milley had to get on the phone with the Chinese and say, calm down, it's okay, we'll get this handled. They had to handle Trump. That's something Mark Milley took a lot of stuff for. But he did the right thing. Because Milley never forgot that stupid photo op that he got dragged in during the George Floyd protest. The upside down Bible, after they used tear gas to clear out the crowd. And he was standing there. He never forgot that. So that's why when Milley left, he had that speech that a military man does not, we don't say an oath to a king or a president. We say it to the Constitution. So the first thing that Trump 2.0 did in everything, I'm not even just talking about the military, is get rid of investigated arms. Be it the, inspector generals, the oversights. Those are the first ones that went down on Doge cuts. Anything that was part of investigation or regulations. If you're wondering why you're rolling the dice if you eat lettuce, packaged lettuce, whether or not you're going to get explosive diarrhea from cyclosporin or now salmonella, it's because one of the first things they did, because that's what the corporations, food corporations, one that got rid of a lot of the inspectors. A lot of shit got through. Taylor Farms, just a kind of side note, not only do they leave slave labor, prison labor, to pick their crops in Arizona, They make changes on wastewater being used for rinsing. You cannot usually use wastewater or sludge, wastewater for rinsing your vegetables. Well, they did. And if you're wondering how human excrement got into that, that's why they cut corners. Same thing with the salmonella. So the first thing that the Trump regime did was get rid of all the inspectors and all the people that can see him do doing sneaky shit. Okay, especially in the military. Inspector generals were cut. Okay, oversights were cut. A lot of those things were cut. People who questioned Pete Hegseth and what they were doing, how money was spent, were gone. The original chief staff gone. Original, all of it. Just chop, 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 chop. If he didn't like you, you were gone. If you want to get rid of you, he's gone. If you question him, he's gone. If you didn't think you were more competent than him, you're gone. Which leaves us to what's going on now. Trump, under the behest of Netanyahu, started a war with Iran. There was no reason to start a war. And don't give me that shit about the agreement. The agreement was fine. Because here's the thing. The agreement with that the Obama administration had controlled their nuclear ambitions, had kept the Strait of Hormuz open. Remember, in the original agreement, they agreed to leave the Strait of Hormuz open and no tolls or anything. It was declared international waters. Okay? Because Obama knew, and their administration knew, that the spice must flow, i.e., oil must flow. And so they let them do their testing and whatever. They monitor them through the International Atomic Commissions. It was a good deal. But since Obama's name on it, they ripped it apart, like they ripped apart the ACA because Obama's name was on it. And so now Trump wanted a new deal. But there was no deal to have, because what are you going to get? What other deal could you get? Basically, they were working toward this same deal with Trump's name on it until Benjamin Netanyahu showed up in the White House 6 months ago and convinced Trump that they had a nuclear weapon in 2 days, and the war was on. And now, even I knew, going back to the fucking 70s and 80s, the Strait of Hormuz, once it gets closed, there's going to be shit to happen. And that's the first thing that happened. But what also happened is that with the incompetency, with the gutting of the military, with the gutting of logistics and smart men running in the United States military who had warned that this was a bad idea. You don't want to mess with Iran. It's not good. They are not the Iraqis. They're not Venezuela. They are different. Okay? Well, we'll just get rid of the leadership and they'll switch over. No. They are they're a different cat. Okay? But you picked a fight with them. And the first thing the Iranians did, and I'm going to back up on all this because people don't see this and they keep trying to change the history. The first thing the Iranians did on the first night of bombings was take out United States military bases in Kuwait, in Qatar, in Bahrain. They rained down missiles and drones. Because in the incompetency that is the Pete Hegseth Defense Department, didn't warn everyone they were going to war. Did not warn everybody to be ready for retaliation because they thought, let's stay with me, that the Iraqis or the Iranians would be decapitated from the first hit, and they weren't smart enough to do it because they're brown. Always remember, the biggest thing that's working in here is that the assumption that the Iranians were not that smart, not that clever, because they're brown skin. It's the truth. That's the way they always think. Never mind that they go back to the Persian Empire. Never mind that they've been dealing with high technology. Never mind that they've been speaking to the Russians and the Ukrainians for years. Okay? Never mind all that. No. It was just a bunch of, I'll be honest, to them, just a bunch of camel humpers, and we'll do this and they'll be done in 10 minutes. It'll be done in an hour. It was not. They hit American bases. They hit American naval bases. And this, the one thing, and you'll see this in the LA Times, they did a good job on it. What happened is, when they sent the Abraham Lincoln in, it was due to stop at a port like Kuwait or Bahrain to get resupplied and ready to go out into the ocean. But those ports were closed due to the bombing. And so they were out there unsupplied. They didn't send them to an alternate port. They were so desperate, they sent them out there, and that's why they're stuck the way they are. We'll get back to that later, but that's one of the reasons why. And they kept hitting those bases. And now they pull back. They have literally eliminated the American presence in the Arabian Peninsula. Okay? Not to mention all the damage they've done to oil infrastructure in Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Oman, not mention all the infrastructure they've damaged, like we have in Iran. And the thing about it is they bought into what Netanyahu's Mossad told Trump and all that. You cut off the head, and then all of a sudden the people will rise up and there'll be a regime change. Now, the Iranians were having problems with their society. There have been mass protests before the war because of economy. They were teetering. They were having issues, okay? There was a good bet there was going to be some kind of change, but within the system to take some pressure off, okay? All the Trump and Israeli war did was basically bring in harder liners. You understand, they are a religious theocracy. They were hard line. But once you cut off that head, you have even more hardliners that stepped up. The RGC, the Iranian Guard, are hardcore. I mean, remember, they fought the Iraqis for years. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, they overturned the Shah, which was our fault. Remember, we put the Shah in place for oil. Hey, GI, for oil. And he ran a very corrupt and brutal dictatorship that was overturned by a theocracy. All right? Cuban wins. Are the Iranians winning? How do you see it? Cuba, Cubs win. They won. It's over. There's nothing we can do now because Trump put us in such a bind. He got them to agree to a memo of understanding. The problem is with the Israelis doing their thing in Lebanon, not agreeing to it, and then we violating it, it was a mess. You can't go back. And the Iranians finally are sitting there going, we have the upper hand. They can close the strait. They're already hitting ships. They already keep hitting us now in that area. And we have no response also because with the incompetency of the Hesketh Defense Department, they didn't look at logistics. The logistics now, not only for taking care of our soldiers and sailors, the logistics is they did not see what our weapons were. You always try to build up your store before you go to war. Okay? But no, they didn't do that. Do you remember that $95 billion or whatever they're supposed to spend? And they spent it on steaks, lobster, and all that? Why didn't they spend that on stocks, on Defense Department stuff? And people say, go, well, they'll get approved for Congress. When does he get approved for Congress for anything? Okay, they could have just bought a whole bunch of missiles and then Congress would have said, okay, that's cool. You see what I'm saying? Cub Swain, do you think that he might do something crazy to make it seem to the public that he won? Here you go. You want me to scare the piss out even more? So as this has progressed right now, and they are panicking right now, they don't know what to do. The problems with the Abraham Lincoln, again, let me put it in context, with the soldiers not getting enough food and no relief, where the ship has to be maintained. The reason that your toilets aren't working because you need to empty the septic tanks. Fix what's going on. Ships only go out of port for no more than 60 days. They go back to get resupplied and refurbished and maintained, and then they go back out. All right. Trump with his whole, well, they haven't been out long enough. He has no idea how that goes. Him nor Pete Hesketh, who was in the military for a cup of coffee, okay, who always thinks about testosterone. That's just weird. That whole Tucker Carlson, this whole, white man thing, I don't get it. What does the level of testosterone have to do with being a good soldier or being a good, competent leader? Never get it. And now so the Abraham Lincoln, which has been out 250 days, has not been maintenance. The ship is a tool and needs to be maintained. You can't do that in the ocean. It has to go to a dock. It's a huge ship. No one gets that. I see all this bullshit coming from so-called vets. Well, that's not what I do when I was there. They should just tough it out. They're at war. Bullshit. If you're a true vet, you don't want them to go through shit like that. And any veteran who has voted for Trump, how do you like that now? So, to answer your question, Cup Swain, they are trying to do reevaluations right now, what to do now that they're running out of munitions, including reevaluations on using tactical nuclear weapons. Not kidding. They're considering it because we're running out of practical munitions and we can't build them fast enough. We cannot give even protective missiles to our bases, which are basically closed down now. Okay. Drones. Well, I don't know how we never got on top of this, but because the Ukrainians were using drones right in front of our faces. Drones, cheap drones, have changed the nature of war. I was watching Lioness, the first season, third season, first episode, and it shows them in Ukraine in a battle with drones. And one of the characters was saying that after it goes, everything's been changed. $1 million of military technology taken out by $90 drone from fucking Amazon. That's what they've done. Okay, and that's what the Iranians got. All you got to do is overwhelm a system with drones. So because basically they're the ones that take the hits, so you can get the missiles in to do the most damage. And if a drone hits the ground, it's going to do damage. We got caught flat-footed. And we went into a war underestimating our enemy. Period. Okay? Again, big movie guy, big TV guy. But if you ever seen the show The Pacific, that scene when John Basilone is telling his recruits that the Japanese soldier, is you have to respect the enemy. Look that scene up. Because that's what we're dealing with now. You're dealing with a bunch of incompetent a-holes who did not respect the enemy, who thought the enemy is easy to punch. Well, the enemy punched back. Not only punched back, they're punching back harder. And now they hold strategic high ground. And some of that, strategic high ground. I mean, someone made a comment is that the United States has gone to war. But we've never gone to war in an area where 20% of the world's oil is, which is vital to every country in the world. We caused this. And it's all interconnected with the economy. Okay? Most of the time, the president doesn't have anything to do with the economy. He can do stuff to affect it, maybe to fix it, but they usually don't do anything. Congress does that with legislation and the way economics usually run, but the president takes a hit, i.e. see Joe Biden going down. But this is the first time that even economists will admit that a president actually created an economic mess. Trump's so-called trade wars, tariffs that we didn't need. Okay? He was in Nassau County today. He was on Nassau County today, um, with a bunch of cops talking about how safe he made America because he put National Guard troops and ICE everywhere. Okay, selling that, and he said he just said it straight up, a straight up lie. Economy is the hottest economy. We got trillions of dollars of money coming in investments. Manufacturing jobs are everywhere. We're the hottest economy in the world. Gas prices are low. Inflation is low. Really, prices have gone 3.4% last month. Gas prices are still high. It, he just basically just lied. In addition to talking about young girls, again, ugh. But you see, he just is lives in a non-reality, and that incompetency it flows through everything. And with the war, okay, that caused the oil prices to go up, and oil. This is all interconnected. What Trump did, Trump did nothing with the Biden economy, just left it alone. He would be sitting pretty because it would have rolled over for him, and he could have claimed it. Now he has to blame him for his mistakes. He has to blame Biden. He still blames Biden or Obama. Every time something comes up, Biden or Obama, Biden or Obama. No, it's you, dude. And they're beginning to realize that. Okay, Americans are getting really worried and tired. Getting really worried. Okay, economically, you can't lie to us. You could see them. You could see it when you go into groceries and hamburger meat is more than the hourly wage, minimum wage. Okay, a pound. You can see it when you go to the gas pumps. You could see it when you can't get a job. All right, you could see it. By the way, to those people who are on, I think, Good Morning America or whatever, talking about because kids couldn't get summer jobs. Well, why don't you just go to McDonald's like I did? Ha ha. Do you know how hard it is to get a job at fucking McDonald's now? You literally cannot walk in and get an application. Remember those days? I do. That's how I got my job at McDonald's years ago. No, no, no. You have to go on their website. You have to put an application. You have to go through the AI machine and be vetted. You got to go through all this shit just for a job at McDonald's, at fast food. That's why it's so hard for a lot of people, even after they graduate school. You have to go through all this bullshit. AI hasn't done anything for anyone to make things more difficult. I had to deal with something with my insurance company today. They put in a new AI thing, which was ridiculous. All right? I work in customer service. I don't want to go crazy. But I'm screaming in my phone to the AI to give me a live human being. And I told the person, hey, the AI stinks. She goes, I know, you're not the first one to complain. You see what I'm saying? It's more obstacle. You notice that AI never makes a job easier. It makes it harder to get to a human being or box you in. Okay? AI was put in place by Biden. No, bro. AI was done by, you know, it was done way before that. Okay? Give me a break. I'll blame Biden for everything. Let's blame Biden because that's all I can do is blame Biden. I can't blame my great leader known as Donald Trump. Can't do that. Can't do that. Okay. Why am I blaming Trump? Because he did it, dude. Pepsi, dude, and you're gone. Because I'm not going to deal with you guys because you live in a different world than I do. All right. Okay, and yeah, you're right. So they're still going to see for a whole year dwindling food supply, bad morale. Okay, yeah, yeah. Public schools had trades. Car shop, wood shop, welding. Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you. And those jobs are still out there if you can find them. Okay, and that's the best thing. It's just that they convinced us when manufacturing died under the Reagan administration, when they offshored everything, that's when everything stopped. Okay, but yeah, if your kid wants to be a plumber, encourage him, please, or an electrician. Okay, they still have skills needed. All right, but It's all tied together. And the thing about it is, this economy is Trump's fault, and they blame everyone else. And it a herbicide to kill parts. So yeah, see, Vincent's got there. Look at that. Necessity fire. I recommend a herbicide kill part of the field. It is not perfect. It is just an excuse to get money from corporations, from business, from governments. Every one of these fucking data centers, especially here in Georgia, they're going to build two in Marietta, which is about 40 miles north of me. No, 50 miles north of me. Are subsidized by the government, subsidized by the electrical, subsidized by the water. It is socialism. Okay, that's communism. When the government takes part of the economic structure. That's why they've been working the AI for years and they've gotten all these things. Now it's coming up to bite us in the ass because it has no viable um, economic repercussions for the most of us. It only benefits the government because or the companies because they can get rid of you and get replaced by a computer, which they can't do. They could try, but like Vincent showed here, hey, you going to trust the machine? I don't. Quick story on AI. They had, for some reason, some company had a hacking program to prevent hacking or just hack into other systems. Don't know why it had it in the algorithm, but it got loose out of what they call the sandbox, which is basically keeps it in there its own area because it's kind of dangerous, and got into another system and started to do his job before it was killed. And the thing I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's how bad things happen. What if that program got into a banking system? I mean, it gets worse and worse and worse. I see them down to 9 viewers. If you watching this live, please share it, like it, because anything that we talk about, economics and not being nice to Donald Trump, as we saw the one guy I blocked, they are starting to go to suppressed. Trying not to get a restriction, but if you can do that, I appreciate it. They're allowed us how to take a lot of water, electric. Yeah, they do. They don't give us anything. I mean, they had Kevin Hassett, that little worm, part of the head of the commerce cycle council, said they give you energy. They bring energy. No, they don't. If they could take that heat and recycle it into energy, yeah, they don't. They just expose the heat out. If they could take that heat and put it into like a boiler or something, or a steam engine, and return it back into the electrical grid, that would make sense to me. Because then that would benefit you and them. You could use that heat even to run your system. That's what hybrid cars do. Do you know a hybrid car, when you brake, that friction turns to electrical power that goes back into a battery? Heat can be done the same thing. Okay? And I'm not a physicist. I know this shit from practicalities. But they won't do that. You know why they won't do that? Because it costs money to do it. It's so sad. All right? And it doesn't benefit anyone, just benefits the few. Okay? And that's what we're dealing with is right now, Trump and all the Republicans are benefiting the few. And Republicans are out there during their break trying to convince you that what they're doing is beneficial to you. Okay? That they did not cut Medicare or Medicaid. They caught a Republican in Iowa, some lady, because he's not doing town halls, caught him at like some kind of outdoor barbecue or something, or event. And she said, "Why did you cut Medicaid?" "We didn't cut Medicaid. We did it because of fraud." "No, you didn't. You took out $100 million of Medicaid so you can give tax cuts. Do you know that the freaking um, um, deficit rose $230 trillion in one quarter? They have put in the highest deficit, and this is because of the tax cuts and the money we spent in Iran for the war. And they won't admit it. And they want to cut more. Rick Scott is ready to get rid of everything. Social Security. And they cut Social Security by 20%. Why? It's my money. It's not tax money, it's my money. You're going to take 20% of my money? And that's the other thing, too. Trump is using money for his own personal stuff, moving it around. He's not supposed to do that. He has a $2.5 billion budget to maintain the White House, not a $900 million, sorry, $2.5 million budget for the White House, not a $900 million budget so he can do his ballroom. He should have never knocked it down. That's not his to knock down. It's our property. It belongs to the United States. The reflection blue belongs to Americans, the United States. The White House belongs to all of us, all of us. All of that is ours, not his. He treats Washington, D.C. like his fucking fiefdom, okay? And the White House is so tacky. As I said before with Mike, it looks like a New Orleans brothel. It is tacky. And he's knocked down, and now with the court saying, hey, dude, you can't do that. You can't build anything or talking about Congress, because Congress, everyone together, is the one that does the budget. They do the money. The only reason Trump's getting away with all of this is because Mike Johnson is a little weasel and is giving Congress is giving their power to Trump. John Cronin, who was done badly by Trump, turned around and said, he asked him, why can't you stop the president? Well, he's the president. I don't know what to do to stop him. Are you kidding me? You've been a senator for years. You know you have equal power. You know what you do. God, you people are just so pathetic and cowardly. And that's why this November election is very important. That's why they're running around using hate and talking about Muslims and progressives in order to stop them, because it's not a progressive message, it's a New Deal message. And that's what scares them. People are just talking about affordability. Where's the money? We need accountability. All right? We need to get out of this war that's costing us money. I mean, these are practical things. And we need to abolish ICE because it's not doing its job. It's not doing immigration enforcement. It's a paramilitary organization picking up who they want, and they're going to spend $20 million more to get torture gloves. Everyone can see that's practical. And also, they've murdered people on the street, and we're paying for concentration camps with tax money. So that's the message. Because every time these guys go on there and talk about socialism, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and we hear it, and I go, yeah, that sounds cool. That's what we want. We want our country back, okay? And they fooled a lot of people who need it back too. I saw a guy, some older white guy in a store, because they didn't change SNAP benefits because you can only buy certain things, tell me you can't buy salt with a SNAP benefit. Salt! He goes, that's never before. He goes, well, it's new rules. Wonder who he voted for. And that's the thing. A lot of these people are FAFO, and they still will support Trump. Especially farmers. How much more does he have to do to you and your markets before you stop him? Before you decide, hey, this ain't good. I don't get you. I don't. I mean, it's just insane. And that's the thing I think that frustrates me more, is that it's starting to move the right way. Polls are showing that. But polls can be wrong. Let's talk about the last primary elections. Abdul Al-Sayed won the nomination for Michigan senator, but he did it in a smaller than they thought, by the way, polls. But the one that kind of worries me is Francisca Young losing in the Wisconsin one. She lost over being up by double digits. And I don't know her guy that she lost to. He's a establishment Democrat named Derek something. He's a black guy. And I was watching his act. And he's going to get his ass handed to him by the Trump-looking Republican guy. Why? Because he's dry as toast, and he supports Israel, and he supports data centers. And the Republican said he doesn't support data centers. He's going to put Democrats in a bad spot, and a lot of them won't show up to vote, which is going to affect the other Wisconsin races. This is what happens when you put dry white toast into the middle of a fire. It burns up and does nothing. Okay? What you need is what you got in Michigan, someone who's charcoal who's burning red hot now. Okay? Or in I'm here in Georgia, John Ossoff, he leads Mike Collins by 13 points. And that's going to be an easy win for him because Mike Collins offers nothing. He's a Trumplican, and he has no ideas, and he supports his son-in-law, who is a who is a white supremacist. These are all facts. And when you hear John Ossoff talk, he is sharp. Okay? Is he a progressive? No, but he's practical, and he fights, and it's what people want. In Wisconsin, the Democratic candidate who was elected by people who are afraid of an Oriental woman running because they feel she couldn't beat a white man, and that's my take, okay? You got dry white toast. And the other guy is going to eat him alive. Because a lot of Democrats won't vote. Or won't vote, well, they may vote down ballot, but they won't vote for governor. That's what they'll do. Because this guy doesn't give them a reason to vote. Okay? Got to give them a reason, bro. You got to give them a reason. You have to, like that's what progressives are doing. It's not the socialist message, the progressive message. No, they're connecting with voters. All right? Like I said, going back to that guy, the Republican, the lady was saying, why'd you cut my Medicaid? And he's going, oh, well, fraud, and, well, I'm not going to talk to you, and walked away from her. He doesn't give a fuck. He thinks he's going to win. Why? Because Republicans will vote for Republicans. They don't give a fuck. But I think that's changing too because a lot of people are in bad straits. If you can be practical. Damn. I mean, I just don't know what else to say to vote for your best interest, but what else can I say? And the Democratic establishment, I'm going to say this still, Chuck Schumer is the greatest threat to Democrats taking the House or the Senate or either of them or both come November because he's determined to keep his power. I am convinced that the majority of established Democrats will be fine with Republicans taking everything falling apart, people being hauled away. It's fine as long as they can keep their power base and get their money from their corporate donors. Okay. So basically, that's what it is. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And a lot of us, who's the demon rat, bro? I'm waiting. And there's Trucker G. Cool. Now I can talk to a military guy. Cool. I'm gonna bring Trucker T up for a few minutes. Hey T, how you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Will?
Not much. Just kind of popped on for a few minutes. Talk about a lot of crazy stuff, but the biggest thing I was touching on was this absolute, I don't know what to call it, what's going on with Abraham Lincoln and Trump's attitude toward the military. My God. Did you catch that act?
Yeah, I saw it today, and it kind of took me back a little bit to hear the way he, doubled down on it. I guess you can say
Yeah.
for all the talk that's out there, all the videos, all the pictures, all the texts that people are receiving, and then for them to send the George Washington out there and turn around to Abraham tells me there's a problem, right? And then for him to say, "Well,
Right.
I wish they could stay out there longer." That's just wow.
But he doesn't understand. I mean, standard deployment is 6 months. All
Right.
right. But most of the time they're in port every 2 months.
Well, he
They
wouldn't
have to
know
be
that.
refurbished. I know. That's the thing. I know that. And I'm not
Exactly.
military. I'd never been military. Okay? But I understand it also because I had friends who worked on aircraft carriers. I had a friend who was a plank holder when I worked in the brewery in Los Angeles, who was a plank holder of the Carl Vincent
Hmm.
when the original crew. Okay? And they have to go into port because You have to maintain that ship. The reason things are falling apart because the ship's not maintained, and I'm pretty sure they have septic tanks that they can't just blow into the ocean.
Well, and here's the thing
This
too,
is
Will. He's the commander in chief, right? Somebody
technically
should be,
yes by
yes,
Constitution.
somebody should be telling him stuff. Now, whether he listens to it or not, that's on him. But
Okay, user, not when we're at war. No, dude. No, even during that war, ships
they,
went to port.
yeah, they go to port and they swap
The
out.
port, and don't give me this crap like, well, I did this, that. If you say that, you never did. Because there's no military member wants so another military member to suffer like they did.
No,
I really doubt that. Okay? User whatever because you don't want to use your real name. Get out of here. Okay? No one,
and that's what infuriates me.
no, yeah,
People like that user guy and a few others that say, well, you know what? They're in the military, they're at war. Yeah, I get all of that, right? And I'm not asking for these guys to be at a Holiday Inn in a suite, but they should have, especially in a confined space in the middle of the ocean,
exactly.
they should always have food. They should always have soap and deodorant and working toilets. That's it. That's it. That's what we're asking for.
Right. And not working for 12 to 14 hours a day. Why are they working 12, 14 hours a day? What is this insanity? Who's running that ship?
Yeah,
What is the
well,
command thinking?
I mean, they've
I
got
mean,
5,000 people on that ship. They should be able to rotate a little bit better than that. You know what I mean?
I, and when your crew comes to you and they have problems, you don't dismiss mental problems on a crew. And the one guy he jumped off an aircraft carrier. An aircraft carrier, I think, from the top deck to the water is 10 stories, dude, to
Yeah,
the water.
that's a hard fall.
Yeah, and they dismiss it. Pete Hegseth dismissed it. He was jumping around so much on his interview. Um, Governor of California said, "Is that man on drugs? He needs a drug test." There is something rotten going on in the Pentagon.
Even the most
There's
hardened fighters need some sort of respite. You know what I mean?
yes. I mean, and again, if you bring this is not what I did, or they're weak. No, there is not one true vet who would do that, who would say that to a fellow person in the military. They wanted to have him better. They want a better situation for him. If you say that you never served in that situation, I'm pretty sure of it. No way. I mean, I can't see that.
I mean,
All
it's
right.
almost like they're trying to start. I've heard something about this is just what I heard. I'm not saying it's fact or any of that, but they're trying to make them lean mean. You know what I mean? Like, you starve a dog and, he gets mean, right? This tactic they're using, which is barbaric for one, and two, it doesn't work because after a while, your mental psyche just takes over. And like you say, they
And
start
what
jumping.
happens? You turn on the master. You turn on the one causing your abuse,
Exactly.
not the enemy.
Yeah, there's
I
ammo on
mean,
that ship, Will.
I know, and that's the thing. I don't know how is this is the thing I was saying in a video earlier today. The one thing the United States has, or the United States military had, is their non-cons, the sergeants, the petty officers, the middle, the guys who kind of keep the thing running. Okay, not the officers. The non-coms do. Okay, how are non-coms dealing with that? How are they dealing with that? They've got to know this is not working. They see it every day.
Well, you got to
How are they
remember,
dealing with
Will,
it?
a lot of them are gone. You know what I mean? A lot of the top brass either left or was moved or fired because they didn't believe in this stuff. They're gone.
Damn.
So now
So
you're left
basically,
with the sure, sir, guys.
I was saying that the first thing they did was get rid of like a lot of the inspector generals, the guideline guys, logistic guys, because logistic guys and inspector guys will question. They have to go, and that's the first people they got rid of. Then they got most of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, kept certain people. But you know and I know that there are career officers who get their rank, but the upper brass know you wouldn't let them in charge of a dog run, less alone men. So you give them their rank and let them sit in the corner. Okay? There's a guy running to become like head of the army or something who survived by kissing up to Pete Hesketh, but he never got promoted. He got his rank, but he never got promoted to command. That tells me something right now. Who's running the military right now? That's scary. And a
Yes,
half.
it's almost like the inmates are running the asylum right now.
Right. And it's the incompetence. I mean, usually, like I said, the military, especially the officers, take care of their own. They know incompetence when they see it because they live with it. But now, I've been reading in the New York Times something that they're reevaluating what they do in Iran, including reevaluating how they use tactical nuclear weapons. And I read that and I'm going, shit. If he gets desperate enough,
I mean, what's to reevaluate? We don't use those. You know what I mean? There's nothing to evaluate. It's not
they're
that.
reevaluating a possibility as part of strategic strikes if need be, because in response to the lack of munitions we have right now that they butchered.
For fuck's sakes.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, exactly. Because there are a lot of people who had been around the military and around Trump who have said that he is fascinated by the idea of using a nuclear weapon. Fascinated by it.
So does he think that
Because he
we're the
feels-
only ones that have them?
Well, he thinks that'll solidify his what's the word I'm for? His legacy. His legacy would be set.
Yeah, I bet it
Because
would.
he'll be the legacy of the only one with a legacy on the cinder, to use a line from a movie. I mean, I don't know. This guy is, I mean, he disappeared for 2 days, shows up again today, do his speech. What are they doing with him? How many drugs is in him? Are they using on him? What are they using on him to keep him going? And his speech was crazy. His speech in Nassau was about safety and how he brought safety to his new empire, which is all bullshit. He, again, he says that the economy's fine. Jobs are up, inflation's down, everything's okay. We're going to take a little hardship for the gas, but once we get those Iranians out of the way, everything will be okay.
Yeah,
I'm
says the
listening to
man
this
who's
going-
never pumped a gallon of gas in his life.
And I'm listening to this going, he has no fucking clue. Inflation is down. Prices went up 3.4% last month, dude. Jobs, he says there's plenty of jobs coming. You lost 120,000 jobs in the last quarter. These are facts. GDP is up. No, it's up by 1.4%, barely. I mean, wow.
But he saw all the beautiful women in the crowd, though.
God, did you? And that's the
Fucking
thing. All
creepy.
these beautiful girls, all these beautiful women in D.C. saying, "Sir, thank you." What? That's just.
Fucking creep,
And
dude.
that's the thing. We're dealing with this, and the only way to get rid of it is in November. And I'm just really hoping that people go out and vote. But then I see what happened in Wisconsin, where Francis John lost by a few points to the Democratic guy. I don't know his name. His name's Derek something. The black guy with the
Clark, I believe.
glasses.
I think it's Clark.
Yeah, Clark. Okay. Establishment Democrat. Blah blah blah. Normal. But I started hearing him and talk and all that. Dude, he's dry toast.
Well, he dropped out of the race, remember? He dropped out,
Yeah, and then
and the governor says, hey, we need you back in here. Then he scurried back in there and ended up winning, which is insane.
which is fine. But the thing about it is that his opponent, a Republican who is a grade A Trump looking, Derek is in favor of data centers. Okay, he said it. The Republican said he's not. That's bright. That's a smart move. Okay, now Democrats have to sit there, especially those who voted for Francis Young, because that guy won barely. Who do you vote for? or do you sit it out? If you sit it out, that fucks everyone else down ballot, or they don't vote for the governor and you get a Republican governor. This is
Well, at
the
this
problem
point,
with. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, excuse me. At this point, it's got to be blue no matter who, right?
I know.
Yes. But you're right. They have to get up off their ass though, and
Right. And if,
go vote.
yeah, if you'll vote, but if you're there, you cannot talk that shit because people are going to listen. Okay. Yes, blue no matter who, but if your guy is talking about, yeah, I think data centers are great, and you got one about to come in your backyard, you see what I'm saying? The one thing progressive done, they've been connecting with voters with a message. This
No,
guy
I get
is not
that.
going to
The guy who's
connect.
saying that, is he Republican about the
No,
data
he's a
centers?
Democrat.
Oh, the Democrat is saying that.
Yeah, he said that. And to turn around,
Oh,
the Republican opponent said, yeah, they're not good. That tells you the Republican opponent can read the room. I did this in a video. I think Chuck Schumer and the establishment Democrats are the biggest obstacle to turning Congress blue.
they are.
Because I am fucking convinced that we could lose the House and the Senate, but as long as they're there getting their money, they don't give a rat's ass about us.
Yeah, and
They
that's
don't
my
care.
bad. I misread you. I thought you were saying that the Republican was
Oh, no, no, no,
asking for
no.
them.
No, look it up. And I saw that
Yeah,
the
no,
other
I
day.
believe you. I
No.
just misheard you. That's all.
But it's just
That's
like I'm
crazy.
going, are you kidding? That's crazy. And then that puts you in a bad spot. It puts you in a bad spot because, yeah, as everyone's saying in the comments, we're blue, we're through. Blue no matter what. But if the blue is going, saying shit, you're going, yeah, I don't know. And I would have to
Well,
hesitate. I'm lucky here in Georgia
well,
because
what they're
John
saying,
Ossoff has a
Will, is
dirt.
because
Yeah.
in 2 years we can get rid of them, right? Our main focus now is to get rid of this regime that we have,
Yeah, I
because
know.
it is just not working at all.
You think? I mean, I mean, but you see, the point is that we say that we're here in practical, but a lot of people are just so dedicated to their fucking cult, they don't care. That's the hardest thing to get around. And a lot of people are afraid who still think of the words communism, socialism, have no idea of it. Let me make it clear. You want communism? Those are data centers. Data centers are supported by the governments. That's how communism works, guys. You know, they control the economic plan. They don't just push a little bit. They're in it. And that's also socialism. You want socialism? Tax cuts for the rich, for corporations.
I saw a
I
video today
mean,
of an Iowa rancher. This lady says she's been ranching this farm for over 30, 40 years. And each time she voted for Trump. But she says these midterms are coming up and she just cannot see her way into voting for any Republicans in the midterm because of what's going on. She said her and a bunch of
right.
her other ranchers. So I think, I'm not going to say a lot of them will, but some of them are starting to see, hey, wait a minute. This is not healthy.
No, it's not healthy. And also, like, they're lying to you. I don't know if you saw before I came on, where you came on with me, but Republicans are not having town halls. No, they're not. They know better. So someone caught an Iowa Republican congressman like in an open event and asked him, why are you cutting Medicare? He goes, I didn't vote to cut Medicare. Yes, you did. In the big beautiful bill, you cut $100 million off Medicare. Oh, that was because of fraud. There's no fraud in Medicare, not that
No
like
fraud.
that. He goes, what about the hospitals that are closing, rural hospitals? No, he goes, rural hospitals aren't closing. We gave money. He goes, no, the ones are closing here. And he's starting to make, and all of a sudden some guy steps in and goes, hi, Congressman, I love your work. And he walked away from the voter.
Wow.
All right.
Well,
But are people going to listen on those levels? That's the hardest thing I keep worrying about because they're so ingrained to vote for Republicans and they got all these fucking keywords in their head. I'm concerned. Right.
okay,
And
so
then Democrat establishment is going out of the way to kind of put their thumb on the scale. That worries me.
Well,
right?
here's
So
I saw this today, and there's a lot of Republican infighting going on around a few things. Right, one is that
right,
ship that we were talking about, and the second thing is something that they're not talking about. But in July, we added another $4.3 billion or trillion. I forget which one. I think it was either, I don't know. It's either B or T to the national debt, the highest that we've
yes,
ever done. Right, and
yep,
what's his name? Ron DeSantis says, well, that sums up Doge in one sentence. So
right,
they're not happy right now.
yeah, because we're spending money. Again, my biggest thing is that he's spending money he shouldn't spend. The Congress sets the budget. Do you know the budget for the maintenance of the White House per year is $2.5 million? That's for maintenance, okay, which doesn't make sense. But Trump has been stealing from the national park budget
Yeah.
because it's part of the national park and doing these things at the Kennedy Center, the Arch, the reflecting pool. He wants $900 million for his fucking ballroom that the court stopped because Congress has to approve the plans. Congress should have never let him knock that down. I
Right.
mean, that place looks like a fucking trailer park. What he did to the White House.
Don't forget about
Got
those
a
ugly horses he painted gold.
yeah. I mean, what the White House has got gold everywhere. It looks like I said before, a New Orleans brothel. This is like ridiculous. All right, it, and he keeps spending money. Where did that $13 million for that American Hunger Games come from? Where did that come from?
Good
And
question.
who watched that? $13 million. And Trump's out there just dancing away. What is that? And everyone's like, I mean, I saw like Pat McAfee was out there all celebrating. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
And here's the thing. He's an idiot, yeah.
I was going
Okay.
to say he's got dirt on somebody, obviously, because this is insane.
What?
What's going on?
But here's the thing. If you were going to do that, really, I want to. They had kickball, dodgeball. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. Personally, if you were going to do that, I would have done that like they do with American Ninja. You got an obstacle course. We can do this in 2 nights. Okay. 2 from each state, girl and boy. Get through the obstacle course. Winner wins. I mean, that would have been more compelling to me than that other bullshit. But,
And Sky
that's
makes a
crazy.
great point. You see, he's like,
Yeah.
do we know why beef is $9.99 a fucking pound? That's insane.
Yeah. Part of it because to answer your Sky, the cost of transportation has gone up. What is diesel? $6 a gallon? You got to transport it.
And the shortage of cattle, from what
Cattle.
that lady was saying, so
All right.
but how did we
And
get
then
there?
there,
That's the thing. How did we get here?
how do
Is it
we
the tariffs? Is
get
it
there?
policies? It's
Tariffs, interruption of with trade wars, fighting. Again, as I said before, no, everyone blames the president for the economy, although a lot of it might be on his hands. This is the first time you can say the president caused this. There was tariffs and his war in Iran.
well, he
It's
says
simple as
that
that.
we can't blame him for the Strait of Hormuz anymore. Well, let me rephrase it. He called it the Hormuz Strait.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my
He
God.
said that we have total control of it. We are the ones that are
Where?
allowing people to go in or out of the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. It's us. We control it.
So just lie. Just gonna fucking
Right.
straight
It's
up
just
lie.
fucking lying. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
lie. We're just gonna lie. If they believe me, cool, because they always believe me. That's the thing. Everyone believes Trump. Okay. When Trump says something, they believe him. And they take it to heart. But a lot of them can't do that. Now, like Carolyn Levitt, why did Carolyn Levitt run? She ran.
That's free reasons.
Yeah, some reasons. One of them might be that you found out that your Lord and Savior hung you out to dry
That one,
after you had your kids.
Me personally, I think deep down in her decrepit soul, she had 1 ounce of decency and says, you know what? I just had a baby. I've got another one at home. This MF left me on the plane, and there was a chance that it would have went down. Fuck this, I'm out. I
Yeah.
That's what I think, but who knows?
Well, and add to it, he took a few people with him, including his diaper wiper, the young one,
Yeah,
the
well,
girl that runs around behind him.
did you hear Aaron Parness's new video about that?
Oh, go. I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so he says the reason why they took Natalie Harp is because she threw such a bitch fit, such a tantrum that they weren't even going to let the plane take off. So they just made the conscious decision to say, fuck it, just get her out of here, put her on that plane.
Oh, she said, I'm not dying. Fuck that. I'm going. Because she knew. She's right by his diaper. She knew what was going on. She's not leaving me. No,
Yep.
I will out all of you. I'm not dying. You're taking me with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that, T.
So yeah,
Oh,
Aaron just
hell
put it
yeah.
out right before I got on here. I just saw him with that video.
Shit, I gotta find that video.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
I
says
could
she
see
threw
that.
such a hissy fit that they were like, okay, we gotta get this sorted out.
Get it sorted. I mean, and that's just, oh my God. But also, if you think about it from a female standpoint, first of all, Levitt, you know, hormones still, you know, my wife had kids, I know that. And also that, you know, she just knew that at that point, you knew that he didn't give a rat's ass about you.
Because he could have put them on
Trump is
another
that-
plane, Will. Or they could have done something different.
But here's the thing: you found out later on that it was a lie.
Right.
That Mossad lied to him and lied to the secret light. They lied to the Secret Service. The intelligence division said, "Hey, now this is wrong," but the Secret Service said, "We're going to believe him," and that's paranoid Trump. Okay, this was an excuse to panic him. And he's still panicking. I mean, he's got air defenses following him around. So
Yeah, and barbed wire. Let's just say that it was a credible threat, right? Let's just say it was credible. And for him to leave those people on that plane to go down shows his character. You know what I mean? And then for him
I
to come
know
out and
that.
say, if they get me, you know, they get you too? What? Yeah, and he left Rubio and all them guys on that plane. And Scott Bessent, or Bessent, however you pronounce his name.
Bassett, yeah. I mean, it's exactly, some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I mean, it's literally out of Shrek.
Yeah,
That's exactly.
At that point, Will, no, I've got no loyalty for you, and I'm going to side-eye the fuck out of you every time I look at you.
Yeah, and also, Hesketh was on the catering truck, too.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
Yeah, he was on the catering truck.
So what do you think it takes for Russia to get to one of those people, right? How much money? Now that he done did that bullshit.
I mean, it's just... And the thing about our enemies also know our military's weak. They can see this. Chinese are laughing at us. The Chinese are ready to project power if they want. They don't want because, as Napoleon said, if your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them.
They're looking at this as child's play. It's too easy.
Yeah. And the thing about it is they're doing it economically behind our back. I don't know we'll ever get back any kind of influence because you can't trust the American people with a fucking election.
True.
Honestly. Because, we let him fuck us twice, to be blunt. And a lot of it because people didn't want to go out and vote.
Well, so and here's another thing, Will. This haunts me
Yoda,
to
that's
this.
a good line. Yoda had a good time. Yeah, he did. You're good. You're right on it, Yoda. Right on the point. See that?
Yeah, How to Conquer America. Well, this guy,
he did it.
I was on a live, and I will never, ever forget this. And they had asked him why he voted for Trump. You know, he was a millennial, or I don't know, he was a younger millennial, whatever. And he says, well, to be honest with you, a lot of us just thought he was funny. And we're like, fuck it, let's just vote for the fun guy. And now look where we are. Because you guys thought this dickhead was funny, look where we are now. Now nobody's laughing now.
No. Funny?
Yeah,
Trump's, Johnny Bananas did a great video on Trump's narcissism. And he said everyone made fun of Kamala Harris' laugh, Obama's laugh, Joe Biden's laugh, even the Bushes laughed. Okay. Have you ever seen Donald Trump actually laugh?
I seen
No.
him smile when women are around.
Smile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
he doesn't
girls.
laugh because to him to laugh is a humiliate is put him outside for humiliation. That means he gets enjoyment from watching cruelty. He smiles at cruelty. Cruelty makes him feel better because he's making fun of someone else. That's
Exactly.
why the nature of everything that flows for him is cruel. From the Defense Department, from agriculture, commerce, ICE, it's all cruelty. Because they get enjoyment. They get off on it. ICE agents get off on it. All of them get off on it. Cruelty is the coin of the Trump administration. All right. And that are making money hand over fist.
Yeah, I'll
I
just be
mean,
glad when him and Jake Lang and Chud the Builder and all of his cronies just go away.
the thing about it, I'll say, yeah, I think the first steps in November. I'm still confident we can get all that back, at least the House, and start making their lives miserable. Because that's the thing, you want to make their lives miserable. Now, I'm hearing still the doomsayers saying, okay, so what'll happen at the end of the election? They're just not going to accept any of the new congressmen. They're going to
That's
tear up the
bullshit.
list and put up a new list. I don't think you do that.
They
Because
can't do
come
it.
January 1st, the states send these people to Congress, and the old Congress has nothing to do with it. Mike
Yeah,
Johnson cannot do that.
he won't be.
John,
Mike Johnson won't be the speaker.
yeah, because someone was on there going like, yeah, someone says they send them a list, and the federal government approves. No, the federal government doesn't approve any of it.
It's all state
Okay,
run. That's just
all
hyper
state run,
stupid.
and those people go there, and they get the other people, the own their um uh terms end on January 1, 2027.
Right. The stroke
All
of
right,
midnight.
and
Mike
right,
Johnson is gone. So
yeah, he's gone or he's not Speaker of the House, and they got to redo it. And they keep saying they have some secret way of doing it. And I'll tell you one thing: if they have a secret way of doing it, there'll be civil war. Oh hell, there'll be a mess.
no,
No,
they've already been meeting. Democrats have been having meetings on anything to do with the midterms and anything that they
right?
can think of that these jackwagons try to do. They're ready for it. So I'm not concerned about the elections. I know the elections are going to go through. Yeah, will he send somebody down there at the polls? Probably, just like he did in
Yeah, I heard
Detroit.
about the ice.
Well, Detroit, when they went down to Detroit, they sat out in lawn chairs. They could give two shits. They're like, whatever,
Right,
right? They don't care. And then
and I
here's
think
my whole
ice
thing
showed up
about that.
somewhere in California, and police chased them off. I don't think they can do that. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Well, if it turns
But
blue, it might be Jeffries, if I'm not mistaken, but we don't know yet.
you're talking about what
Nowadays, it can't
Speaker of the
be.
House?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there'll be enough progressive people to do it. It'll probably be Jeffries, but he'll be under a lot of pressure. If the Senate turns blue, Chuck Schumer may lose his job.
he should
Yeah, he probably will.
at this point.
But Schumer has been reaching out to like Al Said and a lot of people. He's trying to keep his job, but I don't think he can do what he did before. Because I still blame the ACA not even the ACA subsidies on him for rolling over.
Yeah, and I believe Yoda, he will spend the next 2 years ignoring everything, and I get it. And I hope they don't impeach him. Just
Oh
let it
no, we don't want
ride.
to impeach him.
No, just let that
No,
shit
don't
ride.
impeach him. No, investigate everything. Drag everyone in front of committees. Impeaching Trump isn't going to solve it. It's going to make him a martyr.
Yep.
And that's what he wants. He wants to be a martyr. No, bring them all in. Let's talk about all the money they stole. And it's not just Trump. Like, don't bring in Trump talking about, hey, you bring in the person who approved the movement of money for his ballroom and ask him, why did you get access to that money? Why's that money there? Do you know you committed a crime? Get a hold of all the people who have been doing stock trades and ask them, isn't this insider trading?
Yeah, but
Because here's the
here's the
thing.
thing with that though. That memo that
Mhm.
Blanche put out, I don't know how legal it is. That you know what I mean? Like I don't know if that can hold up, but he's definitely
It
trying
won't
to
hold up.
good.
Yeah, it won't hold up. And also, if they had talked to the president and they got it from a presidential thing, still insider trading, you committed insider trading. You're going to go to jail when the SEC gets straightened out because there's at least a time there's still a time frame on it. See, that's what they're afraid of. They're running around scared because of the investigations and what can be stopped. Because you can hold up a lot of stuff. Okay, budgets, everything. Okay, and also the war. I mean, the war. You can call into the war, force them. Can do it. I mean, that there it's going to be a fight, and that's the thing. The Iranians don't want to talk to anyone anymore. They don't want to talk to Trump. Now what do we do? That's the thing. Now what do we do? And everyone's being held hostage, not only by not just the Iranians, but by these dumbasses in charge. I mean, I don't know. They really don't care what happens to Americans as long as they get theirs. That's a hard fact to roll, isn't it?
Yes. Well, they Jimmy Cartered his ass for sure, and I believe him. I guarantee you they won't. Good. Yoda said it won't hold up, but they'll just delay it, and that's the whole thing. And I think they're actually letting him run wild now because they know come November he's pretty much. I mean, he's lame duck now,
It's
but
lame duck now.
yeah, but I think that's why he was out today with his BS talking about, how beautiful the women are and lying about the Strait of Hormuz. And they were just like, fuck it, let him go. Hell, because January will get rid of his ass anyway.
Right, and it's pumping full of drugs and keep going because I'm going to bring up one last thing and then we'll call it a night. Because the one thing everyone keeps talking about, what happens after Trump? And I'm not talking about after he's out of office, after him, okay? And they were talking about, the Tea Party led to MAGA, but I don't think it's that simple because the Tea Party just kind of flopped around. It didn't have anything, and it became MAGA after Trump adopted it. All right. Trump is a cult of personality. It's not, he's not, he he's not a movement, he is the movement. Does that make sense? T? Or am I reaching?
No, you're exactly right. And Mike has been trying to tell people that for months that
Right.
he is the movement. And everybody's like, well, JD Vance is there. No.
No.
They don't respect JD. They won't. He doesn't have the it factor. Trump is that movement.
Well, the more important thing is that they don't worship JD Vance. They worship Trump.
Exactly.
Literally. Evangelicals have adopted him as their Jesus. Evangelicals treat him as holy.
That's
Really,
insane.
they do. They think he's doing the work of their God. Evangelicals don't have a God. They have a false God of power and money and hate. Okay? They use Jesus and God as a front.
Gotcha.
Okay? And Trump is their savior. That's why they treat him like that. They pray for him. They worship him. And when he goes down, and I think I said this in one of Mike's lives, they're going to treat him like Elvis. And there'll be sightings. No, Trump didn't die. He just, went into hiding.
Yeah.
I saw him on the gas station.
I was going to say, he was pumping gas 7-Eleven a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago. I made a joke with TJ, you're going to get the shroud of Trump. They're going to deify him because that's all they have left. And that's going to be impossible for people like, everyone said, well, look out for Tucker Carlson or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Jay. No, they don't have the same oomph. Tucker Carlson's a joke. He doesn't have the same oomph. He cannot get into an election or get into a party fight with oomph. He doesn't have it because he
Well, here's the
sounds
thing with Tucker,
stupid.
though. He's already like he wouldn't be a conservative because all he does now is go after Donald Trump. So they wouldn't accept him anyway.
Right. No, they wouldn't. And they said they're looking at reshaping the Republican Party into what? You were Trump humpers. Old conservatism? No, you don't know what old conservatism was. You don't. If you know old conservatism, then you wouldn't have been spending money like drunken sailors right now.
Exactly.
That's not. I mean, and what they want to do is like it's the same thing like Brian Kemp. Okay, I saw Steve Bannon's Brian Tyler Cohen did a video about Bannon panicking about Senate races because Ossoff is ahead, Tallarico's ahead, North Carolina, Roy Cooper's ahead. He's ahead in Maine. They're ahead everywhere. All right, and he's panicking. And he says something about Brian Kemp not running for Senate here in Georgia. To be honest, he probably had a better chance of beating Ossoff if he had run. It would have been close with Brian Kemp. But Kemp wants to be he wants to be the next big man. He wants to straddle the middle of conservatism and middle.
Kemp
He
is out
wants
of
to be
Georgia,
the next
right?
big thing. Yeah, out of Georgia, the
Okay.
governor for the last 8 years. But he doesn't have that same oomph, okay?
Well, none of them do. They're all stuffy.
None of them. And here's the thing, the people who have that oomph are John Ossoff,
Yeah, I like him.
Saeed, Mondami in New York, Governor Newsom. Those are the guys that have oomph, you know? Those are the guys who can talk to you or talking to people in practical sense. I would not want to get into a presidential campaign with John Ossoff.
No, me either.
I would not.
No.
Right? Because the thing about it is like, talk about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has a lot of skeletons. Okay, he has a lot of shit going on there. All right. Even when he got the nomination, he still would be a tough fight. But you
Sure.
can grapple with him. I don't think you can grapple with John Ossoff. He gives me Barack Obama vibes.
Yeah.
And he's not a true progressive. That's fine. Obama wasn't really. He changed too. The point being is, all the Republicans have on their side are people who have been tainted by Trump and talk stuff that no one really listens to. On the Democratic side, if we got the right people, they're not over the age of 80. They can
Chuck
fight
Grassley.
for you. Yeah, Chuck. I mean, Grassley's on the Republican side, but Chuck Schumer is 78, 77. I mean, he's old. These guys, they have to let go, and they don't want to let go of power. So what we're going to do is take it from their hands, in a nice way. And that's the thing, like they keep saying that they want to ruin the Democratic Party and strip it. Why do they do a third party? No, they want to take the Democratic Party back to where FDR was, New Deal. That's when we
I heard
were
a quote the
strongest.
other day. I heard a quote. It says, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it word for word, but it said, money was meant for you to enjoy while you're here. It wasn't meant for you to die rich. Enjoy your life. You know what I'm saying? These guys,
Or to use, these guys, to use one of the greatest song lyrics ever from Don Henley. You don't see no hearses with luggage racks.
none. You know what I mean? So you've got the power now. Now just go sit down somewhere and enjoy it, and just move on. And
But
another thing I want to tell you before you get off, they say that the midterms are basically the new president's report card, and he gets
right,
graded in November, right?
right.
When was the last time have focused on the midterms for this long? Like biting our nails, waiting for November to get this clown and his posse out of here. I can't remember a time where
No,
I'm running for midterms. That just shows you how
right.
bad this is,
And I think a lot of things that a lot of statisticals are showing are working our way is not just who we're voting for, is the amount of Democratic voters coming out for the primaries. Normally, Republicans come out for primaries more than Democrats. Democrats have been voting in primaries 2-1. And that should worry Republicans because the Democrats are motivated. If they're motivated to vote for a
That's a great
candidate, they're
point,
going to be
Will.
motivated. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. The motivation has to keep there. The established Democrats have to keep the motivation up. They cannot fall into, okay, we're going to vote. They're going to vote for us. Don't worry about it. Yeah, watch what happened the last time that happened. Okay, that's where we're at. You have to stay engaged with the voting public. Give them, even though we're all sitting here in this live and I say it, blue or die, but there are people who really don't give a fuck because they feel that no one's listening to them, and no one
Right.
listens to them. Why should I care?
Or
It's
you got
not a.
those
It's
straight up
not
racists, right? They're not going to vote
exactly
for him. Like, I don't know if you saw
no.
my video or not, but I made a video last night about Todd Blanche wanting to get DEI back into the White House, and he's making this last ditch effort. And I know it's because of the midterms is why he's trying to get diversity, equity, and inclusion back. But anyway, somebody commented on my video and says, black people basically don't have the common education to understand the way government works or its policies. Yeah, that video it's up, and I just clap back at him and basically says, yeah, you're right, but when you go high, when you go low, we go high. And I said, who said that? Oh, I think it was Michelle Obama, and her husband was a 2-time president. So yeah,
Let,
we understand, but
let,
those
let me
people you
let
won't
me.
reach.
Yeah, here's the thing. Civil rights movement. Okay, every one of the bigger movements have been driven by black people and people of color. Okay, civil rights movement, movements toward the war on poverty that was pushed as part of Martin Luther King too, with Johnson. Every time something comes up, people of color and especially blacks, especially black women, step up. Okay, they know the circumstances. They know how what is and what's not. I never forgot during the Floyd protest, especially here in Atlanta, where it got really bad. There was a woman who said, a black lady said, they're lucky we want to be part of the system, not to tear it down. They are. Because that's the thing. Every one of these protests, George Floyd, even the riots, the Rodney King riots, Watts riots, all that, that is a response. Not that people of color or poor people want to tear the system down. They want to be the system to serve them. And the only way for you to pay attention to us is to fucking burn some of it down. That's what happens.
And nowadays, most
They
people, it doesn't even matter what race or ethnicity you are, they just want to be left the fuck alone. Just leave me alone. Let me go
right.
about my day.
And also they also want to be though they want government to work for them.
Exactly.
They don't want to be the target of government. If you get the New York Times, there's a great article about the Kansas. There's an article on the Kansas law on transgender people, and because they have to have their license changed to who they were born as, and the physical and mental, the cost and the mental anguish they go through for that. It's an incredible article. I'll try to send it to you. I'll
I
find it if
appreciate
you don't
that.
get the
Yeah.
Times
Yeah.
because it shows the cost of these people who are the minority, how they are. Oh yeah, black scientists, doctors, too many to name.
Well, of
I mean,
course.
I can go off. Yeah, I can go off. Who developed blood transfusion? Dr. Charles Drew.
Elevators, GPS system,
Elevators,
peanut butter. I mean, you name it.
all of it.
I
You
heard
know the
something this
saddest thing
morning that
about
fucked me up. Will,
but
how hush puppies came about, and I about lost my shit when I heard that one. So
go ahead.
hush puppies came about when the slaves would take what is that, the flour, whatever, however you make them, and they make them
Hmm.
into hush puppies, and they would take them out in the field and they would throw them. So when the hounds were chasing them, they would eat the hush puppies, and they were quiet, and they named them hush puppies so they could run away from the
Right.
slave masters. You know what I mean?
I,
So we
I,
invented that.
I mean, the funny thing, I have my wife gave me a book on the history of slave cooking, and part of the things talk about like a lot of things that we take for granted, like ribs and like collard greens and all that, is because that's what you eat. That's what they had left over. They tossed to them and became a cuisine down the line. It's amazing when you find out about stuff like that. So, hush puppies. Jeez.
That's why they
Only in
that's why they call
America.
it hush puppies.
Man, because the hush the puppy. I mean, that's the thing. We lose in all this bullshit that they keep talking about history. How they want to make history, because it's bad for people or it makes people feel bad. But there's so much interesting parts about history that you don't have to feel bad. You just have to go, oh, wow. I mean, I could tell you that Charles Drew died because he couldn't get a transfusion because they wouldn't take him at a white hospital, white only hospital.
Sky
I could tell you
understands the
that.
assignment.
Well, referring to,
Well, I told him about the video. I said,
right,
because normally I don't out people. I get some outlandish comments, but this one I'm like, you know what?
right.
I'm going to put your ass on blast. So I said I
Good.
didn't blur the name, and Sky was like, got it.
No, someone says something stupid, ain't blurring a name. You gotta own up to your stupid. You gotta own up where I did a video that I know is gonna get like 10 responses to, just to make a note. Because if you're that stupid, you deserve it.
You're right.
And the idea, you know, the idea that black people don't know how the political system works, where to be blunt, the entire Civil War was based on whether you could own a black person is total and absolute bullshit, dude. Of course they knew how the system worked. Of course. Because they were the system.
Those are the kind of dinosaurs that are still walking around this earth. I'm just
That's
saying.
not dinosaur, that's just dumb. Dinosaurs were smarter,
True.
to be blunt. That's just wow. Anyway, I'm gonna hopefully the Dodgers don't lose tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. T, thanks for coming in. It's always good when you come back
No, I appreciate you,
and
brother.
we talk. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, you know where to find Trucker T. He's up and about. Look for his videos. He's always fun. He hangs out with Mike like I do, the Rational Boomer. You can find me here on TikTok, RJ12764 TikTok. I see several people followed me. Thank you for that. You can also follow me on Substack at Binder38US is Substack. On YouTube, Binder38US at YouTube. Send me an email, kumquat6 at outlook.com. That's KUMQUAT, the number 6 at outlook.com. I love to email people. And then also you can text me at 470-236-2403. Be more than happy to jaw with you. If you want to support my work, I have a paid subscription at Substack, or email me or text me and I will send you a PayPal link if you want it at one time donation. T, you have a good rest of the evening. Guys, those of you who are watching, have a good night. You all be safe, okay?
All right. Thanks, Will.
Appreciate you, bro. Take care. Bye-bye.